Welcome to the Pyramyd Insider. My name's Tyler Patner, and I am joined by my good friend Ton Jones with AirForce Air Guns. And today we're going to be talking about the new Aero gun from AirForce. You're going to want to check this out. For those of you that don't know Ton, I don't know how you don't know Ton, but if you don't, Ton is the director of R&D at AirForce, but R&D doesn't exactly stand for what we think it does it?
No, that whole research and development thing is way too boring. High class. Let's just be real. I'm the director of research and destruction. We develop stuff, I'm out there to destroy it and make it better. That's what I do.
Yeah, it's perfect. And this is really a project for you guys that have been a long time coming. And one that is right up your alley because you have a history with archery. It's kind of something that you enjoyed in a past life. So let's talk about where this all started, which was here, correct?
Yes, in 2012. I was not officially working for AirForce at the time. I was still filming my TV show. Sure. And I was competing in archery. And I absolutely have a love and passion for everything archery, arrows, and air guns. So it's kind of like fusion. You never know how it's going to quite turn out, but if you throw enough stuff at it, you come out with something badass like this. And there was the Aero gun was born, so to speak. We designed it, put it together, tested it, proved it out, and then the Texan came around.
A little bit more important.
Yes.
Yeah. So you said 2012.
2012
was when this was first developed.
That's actually when the first prototype rolled out, and we actually went and tested it in the field.
Okay. All right, so for the folks at home that maybe aren't super familiar with arrow firing air guns, something that's been on the market since 2015, 16, somewhere in that ballpark, with like the Benjamin Pioneer Airbow, which is still available. You have like the Air Venturi's Air Bolts. So now there's even more stuff out there that shoots arrows. It's kind of like a legitimate category in the air gun world.
Yes.
Because there's so much great possibility with an arrow firing air gun when we talk about hunting. You know, you throw a broadhead on something going 450 plus feet per second, and there's nothing that's going to stop it. And my understanding is that this is no exception.
Oh, this is 450 feet per second, under 50 yards. That's meat on the plate.
Sure. Sure, so it's going to be plenty accurate. Obviously, we're going to head out to the range and put that to the test for you guys, put it over the chronograph, see what it's doing. But right now, let's dive into the details of the Aero gun and check it out a little bit closer. So running down the Aero gun, you're talking about a sub 40-inch package, which as far as Aero guns on the market today, that's pretty short. One of the shorter ones for sure. So we've mounted the bipod on it just to stand it up here. But the frame is like standard Condor or Texan, somewhere in the middle?
It is a little bit of a hybrid of both.
Okay.
It is a little bit longer than the Condor and Texan frame, minus the tuning wheel window and all the stuff that's usually here. We do not have barrel bushings in the front, so you don't have all the extra holes. And the frame is actually just a bit longer, so it can completely encase the 18-inch bolt.
Gotcha. So 18-inch bolts, and this is very similar to other systems we've seen where the bolt slides over the barrel. And I will tell you guys, just doing it here, it doesn't have like an audible or kind of feeling snap there, but you do get that nice definitive stop at the end, just letting you know that it's done. And this isn't something like, Ton, you pick that gun up and shake it, that bolt ain't coming out. Yeah, it's on there.
It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, so in the field, you're going to have no problems carrying this with you. And when the shot presents itself, taking it, knowing that the bolt is still in place, which is hugely important. So moving back, so we have obviously our barrels housed inside of here, so nice and well protected. Coming back to our kind of cocking action system, what I think is unique about this, you guys will notice, you know, this 18-inch bolt obviously is not going all the way back like we would see with a pellet gun where that barrel is actually getting loaded back here. So what do you have going on in this area that we can't see?
Inside is all the strike weight and springs, everything that'll actually open this inline valve system. You can't take it and put it on a Condor or put it on any other Talon. Okay. It is specific for the Aero gun.
Got it. So this isn't something for existing Condor or Talon owners that you're going to be able to convert your gun into. This is a unique system.
Yes, because of you're no longer shooting pellets and slugs.
Yeah, so you're not functioning off of like the back pressure created by a pellet or a slug in the barrel. This is a completely unique system to what is normal for Air Force guns.
Correct.
Which is pretty cool in my opinion. So what's going on with the valve itself? Because I know we're still using, and we'll pop that open, so we are still using these Ring-Loc kits, right? So out of the box, we're expecting what kind of velocity as it comes?
450 feet per second.
Okay, sweet. So using that Ring-Loc kit, if the customer purchases it, because I'm assuming that part doesn't come with the gun.
Yes.
But that's the same kit for the Talon and the other guns.
Correct.
And
it's
Condors.
the exact same kit, but what this allows you to do is take the arrow gun and shoot it at 400 to 450 feet per second. With the Ring-Loc kit, you can drop it down to 200 to 250 feet per second and conserve your arrows a little bit more when you're practicing, getting used to the platform. We want it to be as user-friendly as possible. And now this makes it the only fully adjustable arrow gun on the market.
Which is really neat, actually. And for you guys at home, you know, speed kills, absolutely. There's no question about that. But the reality is anybody that's been bow hunting before knows you do not need 400 plus feet a second to kill really anything. It certainly doesn't hurt, you know, but you put a broadhead on something going 250 and you're still going to be very effective and super ethical, especially at shorter ranges. You know, if you're a tree stand hunter like we do a lot here in Ohio, you're going to have a great time, you know, at those 30, 40 yard interactions with something moving a little bit slower. Of course, I want the speed. I like the speed. But, you know, to your point, right, you're going to get more shots if you choke that down with a smaller orifice. You're not going to potentially lose an arrow, bury it in the ground, right? And then there's also some other ancillary benefits of being able to go after smaller game and not just burning right through them.
Going right through. Yeah. And to your point, people have been dropping big game with recurve bows and arrows that averaged 110 feet per second for hundreds of years. But being able to boost it up to those speeds and drop big game.
It makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
We'll move back to the tank in a second, but for those of you that haven't seen the new kind of grip system and this, what are you guys calling this? Because this is now AR-15 grip compatible. It wasn't always, and this is something that's now on all of the Air Force guns, correct?
Correct. What we did is we went ahead and upgraded to a trigger guard system that allows the attachment of any A2 style grip.
Got it. All right, so moving on back, we still have the spin lock system for the tank attachment itself, but what is super unique about this gun, and in my opinion, what is its biggest selling feature is the operating pressure. So what are we doing there?
15 to 1600 PSI. That's all you need to make this thing haul ass.
And we're not talking about one or two shots, right? Like what's that?
No.
At 450 feet a second, like right out of the box, what are we expecting shot count wise?
Before you start to get a drop off on arrow performance, 5 shots.
Okay, perfect. So in terms of like a nice consistent spread, obviously we'll put it over the chronograph for you guys. 5 shots, that's what we're looking for, and that's more than you're ever going to have in the field, or more than I hope any of you have in the field, certainly. But certainly, you know, if you forget to fill it up in the morning and you've already taken a shot or two, it's not going to be a big deal. And another thing to bring up for them at home, if they're using a Ring-Loc system, you know, you're going to get more shots if you reduce the velocity. So, you know, if you don't need that 400, 450 feet a second, and you want to drop it down into the 2 to 3 range, you're going to get even more shots.
Correct.
Okay.
And with the system being such a low fill pressure, now it becomes available hand pump.
Yes.
Regular aluminum 80 scuba tank.
Sure.
And it just opens up the field for so many more users and more affordable.
Absolutely. That, to me, is probably this thing's biggest feature going for it. Just the ability to use a hand pump. You know, it's still a large tank, so you are going to have to do a few pumps, but the pressure isn't going to be ridiculous, and that's when it really gets hard, is when you get up there in the pressure range. So for this, and obviously if you're using a carbon tank, you're going to be able to use a little carbon tank and get a ton of fills off this as well.
Exactly, because let's be real. This wasn't built to hand pump.
No, this wasn't built to hand pump, so that certainly isn't built to hand pump.
But this is why we actually designed this platform, user-friendly, and to get in, if you're just starting, now you don't need the big expensive compressor, the expensive carbon fiber tank. It actually makes it user-friendly and affordable for entry-level shooters. And that's what we want to do. The idea behind this industry is to get more people into the industry, not budget them out of the industry. So now you can step in at an affordable rate with affordable support items and go out and have fun.
I dig it.
Hunting.
I dig it. Let's go see what it does on the range.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So Tyler,
Yeah,
welcome to my version of a range.
I like it. It's early in the morning. We're heading somewhere in Texas to go hunt stuff. This is how much I know, people. I've been told nothing. So what? Explain.
Well, you said you wanted to go out to the range and give the TalonBolt a try.
Yes.
So we're on the way to the range.
Got it.
Just so happens the range is in Texas.
Oh, so we're doing real world testing.
Yes.
So what are we after?
Today we're going to go after probably axis, black buck, maybe aoudad, and maybe an elk.
All right, I've never seen half of those animals in person, so this is going to be wild, man. I'm looking forward to it.
We're going to go to my range.
Awesome.
Hope you enjoy it.
I dig it. Let's do it. And before we head out into the field to go after some game, we got to stop at AirForce HQ and chronograph this TalonBolt. 440 feet per second. Plenty of power there, but for those of you that maybe don't need all the speed, the gun is going to ship with another Ring-Loc cap. Now this is a slightly smaller orifice that's going to drop you into like the 350 range, right?
Yes, exactly.
So same weight and everything. This is going to make it a little bit easier for those of you that want to tune maybe with fixed blade broadheads. This is going to be really handy. Drop that velocity down, just slow things down a bit. And still, guys, 350 feet per second is nothing to sneeze at. So this is certainly something that's going to still give you ethical kills on game at distance, no problem. But having the ability to pop that first Ring-Loc kit in there that's bigger, 440 plus feet per second, holy cow.
This is what we call a range here in Texas.
I like it a lot. This is gonna be fun. So we're gonna take the TalonBolt out. We got an arrow loaded, Interlock EXP broadhead ready to rock, Tacticammed up. We're gonna go see if we can find some game.
Yep, let's go get some dinner.
Oh, I like that. All right, see you guys out there. On day one, we were after red stag. Ton and I were trying to stalk in close enough to this herd, but when you're on 400 acres, it can be a challenge just to find them. Once Ton and I located the herd of red deer, we circled around the backside of the mountain, coming over the top, and took up position in the woods, and it wasn't long before we had some action. Off to the right out there.
There they are.
There's one. Now that first red stag encounter you saw was about 30 yards. This next one, almost 100, which for any arrow firing air gun is out of range.
It's real frustrating when the animals move through as a herd, and you don't take the shot because you don't want to hit two animals
and you can't get them to stop.
No, and
that's now our third close encounter with the red stag, and just
it's not worth taking a shot and risking killing one and injuring another, so you don't take the shot.
That's cool to see him move like that, but like also very depressing that you can't yell and say, hey, stop.
Stop! But that's why it's called hunting.
We're still trying.
Yeah, so back at it again.
Yes. spotted a big group of axis deer, and we found a nice shooter. We're just trying to work our way up close to them. They're a little skittish. Axis are very wary servant. So we're gonna see what we can do and see if we can stalk our way in on them. See what happens. Since it was getting late in the day and we weren't having any success, we decided to split up. Matt and I tried to extend the range, grabbed a Texan, and went out into the woods. Ton took the TalonBolt without the cameras and went after a red stag, and boy did he connect. With a little help from our guides, Ton was able to sneak in and put a perfect double lung shot on this monster stag at about 20 yards. Back at Indian Mountain Ranch for day 2, and we were largely targeting black bucks, and it wasn't too long before Ton had the TalonBolt in a good position to take a shot.
We got black buck coming in. We've been walking and stalking, and you can tell I'm out of breath. I'm not made for walking and stalking. I need a cheeseburger.
Ton was tracking this shooter black buck hot on a female. Most of what you're seeing here is at about 200 yards, but just shortly after, he trots right around him at about 35, 40 yards, which if they had gotten him to stop, definitely would have been a shot, but no such luck. He was after that female hard. After lunch, we decided to switch up tactics. This was our last day. We had to get a good shot opportunity, so into the blind we went. All right, so for the afternoon here, it's the last day. We're trying to get something else on the ground here with the TalonBolt, but we're set up here in a blind. We've got a couple good shooting opportunities, so it's just a matter of getting something to come in so we can get a shot. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned. Just as the sun was going down, we heard a little rustle behind us, and there they were. We had black bucks coming in. All right, guys, nerves are a little shot right now. We just took a shot at about 25 yards at a nice black buck. We watched the footage back, and it almost looked like the arrow grazed him. I pulled the trigger as he was turning away from me. He didn't look like he was moving too quick out of here. So we're gonna go give him a look, or give him some time rather, and then give it a look and see if we can find him. We hopped out of the blind as the sun was going down and started our track after the black buck. It was about 45 minutes until we found him. But found him expired, thankfully, and once we got a close-up on the animal and then later on watched the footage back on a much bigger screen, we finally figured out what happened. So let's show you guys kind of our breakdown of the shot. So here's what happened. Basically, when the black buck started to quarter away from me and I pulled the trigger, the arrow went in a little above its shoulder that was facing me, so its left side shoulder. That Thorn XV broadhead deploys, but it doesn't catch much in the way of vitals, but it does, because it's going at a downward angle, end up lodging itself in the shoulder or the armpit section of this black buck on the right-hand side. And we actually found the broadhead after the fact, but here's what's wild. This broadhead sticks into the bone and the arrow shaft actually snaps off at the thread. So the arrow got whipped around once it came out of the other side of that black buck and actually broke into 2 pieces. And Matt can show you on the screen where that's at, but kind of wild. But basically that broadhead sticking in there is what did all of that damage as that black buck ran off and started to bleed pretty profusely out of there. And that bloodletting is what ultimately led to it going down, and going down pretty quickly. ultimately, a lot of lessons learned on this one for both Matt and I, actually working together to do this kind of stuff in the future, because we certainly had a great time doing it. It was great to get to proof the concept with the TalonBolt, because the gun certainly has the goods and very capable of getting it done in the field when you take the shots at the right angles. Make sure they're not quartering away from you too bad, guys. But it is what it is. Glad we could get it done, get that black buck on the ground.
All right, it's been about 45 minutes, and we let the black buck go out and do its thing. A short little track, but now Tyler owes me at least 2 cheeseburgers because he made me hike twice now this trip.
I wasn't sure how big it was going to be, so I didn't know if I'd be able to lift it. That you do the heavy lifting for me, brother. In more ways than this, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, the Thorn XV broadhead out of the TalonBolt did a great job. Clipped some arteries and got him down pretty quick. So man, just this is awesome. Never would have thought I'd been able to shoot something like this, and just a great time. I appreciate you having me out, man, and being able to proof the concept for you all, that this gun is going to be able to get it done in the field is just awesome. Super excited to be able to do it. Thanks to Larry here at Indian Mountain Ranch. We had an awesome time, and there's going to be more you guys are going to see from our hunting journey here very soon, so stay tuned.